Hello friends, in the last video we have discussed about the types of lateral earth pressure. In the present video, we'll see how do we have to find out the lateral earth pressure at rest condition. As we have already discussed about the what is meant by earth pressure at rest condition, let us start analyze the forces acting on the soil mass. So for that, let us consider that we have constructed a retaining wall. Okay, let us say the width of the retaining wall is B and height of the retaining wall is H. Okay, let us say it is constructed by using some RCC material. Okay, and up to the level H, the soil mass is retained. Let us say this is the, so at the back side of the retaining wall, let us say the soil mass is retained. And so rest condition is possible when the retaining structure, or we can say the retained wall, is rigid and unyielding. Unyielding means that this retained structure will not allow any displacements. That means displacements happen in the rigid wall is equal to 0. That means we can say that this retained wall is at rest. If this retained wall is at rest, then obviously we can say that whatever the soil that is retained, that will also we can say it is a wet condition. So for the analyzing purpose, let us consider a point in the soil mass, and let us say this point is at a distance of z from the top. Okay, now let us say we'll see what are the forces that are acting on this point. Okay, see, I have represented the forces. Tell me the magnitudes what I have written there. Can you visible? No, we cannot say. So even for this small point, as it is surrounded by the soil, definitely the forces will act on this point. But if you are calling it a point, means that it is having very negligible mass. As it is very negligible, with the actual size of the point, we cannot able to see clearly what are the forces acting on them or in which direction they are acting on it. So that's what I will do. I am using the microscope and I am seeing it through microscope. If I am seeing it through microscope, what I'll see? I am seeing in enlarged shape. So, and we are finding the forces acting at a single point. As it is difficult to see the forces acting on it, we are using some microscope. So if we are using microscope, we will see in some enlarged shape of the point. So let us assume that the point is looking like this. And let us say these are the coordinate systems we are considering: x, y, and z. So at this point, if you observe here, above the point where soil is retained up to a height of z magnitude. So because of that weight of the soil, we will generate the vertical stress. That means stress will develop along the vertical direction. That's what I am considering it as a sigma v. So from the resistance here, it at the bottom surface, it will act in the upward direction. Similarly, the stress that will be generated along the x direction, let's say we are talking it as a horizontal, that's why let us represent by using the magnitude sigma h. So if it is acting on the right side from the resistance, that will act on the left side from the another side. Similarly, along the z direction also stresses will develop, that is called as a sigma h. Okay, now these are the stresses acting on that point. See, if you observe that we are not representing any shear forces acting on that point. Okay, everything will be balanced. Now, as we are talking about this point or the entire soil mass at rest condition, this point is also at rest condition. That means no strains are developing on this element. So for that, let us say that I'm considering the strain along the horizontal direction. That's why I'm representing EH, that will be is equal to 0. This H, either you can say, either it may be along X direction or it may be along Z direction. You can consider anything. Okay. So how do I can write down this equation? Stress divided by Young's modulus. So if I'm talking about along X direction, what should I write here? Sigma X divided by E minus Poisson's ratio times. Let us say, if you see all the stresses what we are writing here, every magnitude is under compression. So that's why compression here I am taking it as a positive, tensile I'll take it as a negative. Why I am tensile take it as negative means in a soil mass if tensile stresses are developing, then the failure will be occur. So sigma x minus c, Poisson's ratio times remaining other two directions. Along the vertical direction, we are calling it as sigma y. Along z direction, we are calling it as a sigma z divided by E. That should be equal to 0. So we are writing strain along the x direction. What is the strain or stress along x direction that we are representing with sigma h, as it is a compression, positive value by E minus mu times along the y direction. What is the magnitude? Sigma v. I mean expanding the term, minus along z direction mu times sigma h divided by E. That will be is equal to 0. If I take sigma h common, and 1 by E, if this goes to the right side, that will be equal to 0. And if I take sigma h common, what will get? Sigma h into 1 minus mu into sigma v, that will be equal to 0. So from this, what you can say, what is my the horizontal earth pressure, or else simply we'll call it as a lateral earth pressure. That will be written as mu divided by 1 minus mu into sigma v. Okay. So if we know the vertical stress, already we have seen, now we have to find out this vertical stress in the soil mechanics, that depending upon the weight of the soil above the point. And if you know the Poisson's ratio, then we can find out the horizontal, or we can say lateral earth pressure acting at a height Z. Okay, now if I replace, suppose if I are talking about some particular soil, okay, let us assume that Poisson's ratio is constant. Then what we can call it? Lateral earth pressure, that will be equal to, let us say, as it is a trust condition, that I am talking it as a KO into sigma V. So this KO is called as a coefficient of lateral earth pressure at rest condition. Okay, that means wherever you want to find out the lateral earth pressure, at that point first you have to find out the what is the vertical stress acting at that point. So if you know this coefficient, then if you multiply that, then we will get the sigma h value. So for soils, this k naught will be always less than be 1. That means the earth pressure, lateral earth pressure is always, this is less than 1. That means obviously we can say that sigma h is less than sigma v. That means the lateral earth pressure will always be less than the vertical earth pressure. Suppose if we are talking about water, suppose if we are talking about the water at rest, do you know what will happen at what if your water is at rest? And let us say if you are talking about a lake, if you are talking about any point, what are the pressure acting at any point in a water? So if you do remember the Pascal's law, whatever the direction you consider, the stress will be same. Let us say the pressure will be equal to P naught. So if it is a water, we can say that everywhere, whatever the direction you are taking, the pressure is constant. But if you're talking about the soil, the stresses in different directions are different. Why? Because of only one reason. If it is a water, shear stresses will not develop. That means shear stresses will be equal to 0. But if you are talking about the soil will resist sum of the shear stresses. So that's why the lateral earth pressure is coming less than vertical earth pressure. Okay. So if we know the coefficient of earth pressure, then by using the vertical earth pressure, we can find out the lateral earth pressure. Now, so what about K naught depends on? In the present case, your K naught depend upon the mu divided by 1 minus mu. That means if you know the mu value, then you can find out the K naught, right? But so before moving on to further, while deriving this equation, have we considered any assumptions? We have not considered any assumptions or we haven't seen, but will there be any? Yes, of course. Why? Because soil, it is an unconsolidated material. So that means it cannot achieve uniform properties everywhere in the soil mass. So it vary from point to point. If it vary from point to point, your pressures also will vary from point to point. Why? Because your mu is also changes. That's why we will assume that whatever the soil mass we will consider it is a homogeneous, and also we'll say it as a isotropic. Why? Because homogeneous is nothing but a along one direction, whatever the point you consider, properties are same. However, isotropic, at single point in all direction, properties are same. That means if you are assuming homogeneous and isotropic, whatever the point and whatever the direction you consider in any material, any point, your properties are same. What are the properties? Your Young's modulus or your mu value. So most probably here usable parameter is nothing but a mu. So if you are talking about homogeneous and isotropic, whatever the point you consider in the soil mass, your Poisson's ratio is constant. And also we will see that your soil mass is semi-infinite. That means that, let us go to the previous diagram. So here in this slide, see what is meant by semi-infinite. That means here I have drawn the diagram in 2D, right? But reality that will be in the this retaining wall, it is also having some length. So that length is also, it will is limited to some specified limit, right? Whether it may be a 2 meter, 100 meters, 300 meters, right? It is not mean mandated that it will be continuous, whatever the length you will consider. That is limited to some space. But if you want to derive this equation, the length of this retaining structure is considered as a infinite. That means along one direction, the length is not limited. Then only these equations are all applicable. But in reality, that is not possible. But the length of this retained structure is sufficient enough that those properties will not affect along the cross section of the retained structure. That's why we'll assume it as a semi-infinite. So if these two are valid, then only the equations are valid. And the one more point is that while deriving this equation, those all equations are only applicable if your elastic theory is applied. That means we are not going into a plastic state. If the soil mass is reached to the elastic limit, then we are considering it as a failure. So those K naught equal to mu divided by 1 minus mu, that is only applicable if your soil is homogeneous and isotropic and it is a semi-infinite, and also elastic theory is applied. If these three are not satisfied, then we cannot apply the K naught value. Always remember, in the GATE exam, the assumptions are very, very important. They can ask you for the 1 mark questions, okay? So as of now, we can find out lateral earth pressure at rest condition, that is sigma h, that will be is equal to K naught into sigma V. So I think as of now, everyone will know how we'll find out the vertical stress, and depending upon the mu value, we can find out the K naught, and then we can find out the sigma h. Okay. Now we will see how that stress will vary, how the lateral pressure will vary here. Let us say if this is your retaining wall. Okay. How this lateral earth pressure will vary along the height of the retaining wall? Is mu values vary from point to point? No, this k naught is constant. However, sigma will call it as a gamma into z. That means sigma h will be equal to mu naught divided by, sorry, mu divided by 1 minus mu into weight density into z. Here, this is also constant and this is also constant. Say if you are talking about a particular soil, your weight density is constant and your Poisson's ratio is constant. That means your earth pressure is directly proportional to the magnitude z. So what is the degree here? Z to the power 1. That means along the height of the retaining wall, your earth pressure will vary in a linear way. So how, what about the magnitude and all? We will find out in seeing the problem. So here this magnitude is nothing but a k naught into gamma into z. So this is what the variation of sigma h, simply I'll set rest condition. But you know what is the problem we'll face here? So every time finding mu value of a soil is a difficult task. So whatever the soil you consider, finding the Poisson's ratio value is very, very difficult. That's why we don't exactly use this equation, but we will use some approximate equations. So what are those approximate equations? Means that we will express this constant in terms of angle of friction. So normally we have different types of soils, as we have already learned in the soil mechanics, like sands, clays, and we have also seen what are the different conditions that soil mass is subjected to, like whether it is normally consolidated or over consolidated. Those all you have seen in the consolidation chapter. So normally we can encounter with whether it may be normally consolidated or it will be a over consolidated, right? So generally we'll have some coarse grain soils, and also we have in the fine grain soils. So in coarse grain soils, normally we'll talk about the sands, and also in fine grain materials, we'll talk about the clays. So if it is a normally consolidated sand, then your K naught will be written as 1 minus sine phi. So even if it is a over consolidated sand, again the value is same, 1 minus sine phi. So these are the just approximate formulas. We will use it for finding the K naught value. So what is the coefficient of lateral earth pressure? If it is a normally consolidated sand, 1 minus sine phi. What is the coefficient of lateral earth pressure? Even if it is a over consolidated sand, that will be is equal to 1 minus sine phi. And what about in clays? Even if it is a clays of normally consolidated, the value will be same, 1 minus sine phi. But in a over consolidated clay, the magnitude will be 1 minus sine phi times under the root OCR. So here OCR is nothing but a over consolidated ratio. So if they give you a problem by saying that it is a overly consolidated clay, then definitely they will give you what is the over consolidated ratio, and also they will give you the angle of friction. So based on these two values, we can say, or we can find out the coefficient of lateral earth pressure. Okay. So in the present video, we have seen how we have to find out the lateral earth pressure at rest condition by using the coefficient of lateral earth pressure. And if it is a sand, irrespective of the consolidation, then the magnitude will be equal to 1 minus sine phi. If it is a normally consolidated clay, the constant will be 1 minus sine phi. If it is a overly consolidated clay, then the magnitude will be 1 minus sine phi into under the root OCR. OCR is nothing but a over consolidated ratio. Thank you.